Mr. Fagg! Give us your hand, me old fellow servant.
Excuse my glove, Thomas. Well, I'm devilish glad to see you, my lad. My prince of charioteers. And the deuce sort of seeing you in Bath.
Sure, master, Madam Julia, Harry, Mrs. Kate and the postilion be all come.
Indeed.
Aye. Master thought another fit of the gout was coming to make him a visit, so he had a mind to get the slip. And whip we were all off at an hour's warning.
Aye, hasty in everything, or it would not be Sir Anthony Absolute.
But tell us, Mr. Fagg, how does young master? Odd Sir Anthony will stare to see the captain here.
I do not serve Captain Absolute now.
Why, sure.
At present, I'm employed by Ensign Beverly.
You haven't changed for the better.
I have not changed, Thomas.
No? Why, didn't you say you had left, young master?
No. Well, I must puzzle you no farther, honest Thomas. Briefly then, Captain Absolute and Ensign Beverly are one and the same person.
The devil they are.
So it is indeed. And the ensign, half of my master, being on guard at present, the captain has nothing to do with me.
So what? This is some freak, I warrant. Do tell us, Mr. Fagg, the meaning of it. You know I've trusted you.
You'll be secret, Thomas.
That's a coach horse.
Why then, the cause of all this is love. Love, Thomas, who, as you may get read to you, has been a masquerader ever since the days of Jupiter.
I guess there was a lady in the case. But pray, why does your master pass only for ensign? Now, if it is sham general, indeed.
There lies the mystery of the matter, Thomas. Hearken. My master is in love with a lady of a very singular taste. A lady who likes him much better as a half-pay ensign than if she knew he was son and heir to Sir Anthony Absolute, a baronet with 3,000 a year.
That is an odd taste, indeed. But has she got the stuff, Mr. Fagg? Is she rich, eh?
Rich? Rich? Why, I believe she owns half the stocks. Zoons, Thomas, she could pay the national debt. She has a lapdog that eats out of gold. She feeds her parrot on small pearls, and all her thread papers are made of banknotes.
May one hear her name?
Miss Lydia Languish.
Languish?
Languish. But there is an old, tough aunt in the way who, by the by, has never seen my master.
How's that, then?
Oh, he got acquainted with Miss Wall on a visit in Gloucestershire.
Well, I wish they were ones harnessed together in matrimony. Pray, Mr. Fagg, what kind of a place is this, Bath? I'd heard a deal of it.
It's a good lounge. In the morning, we go to the pump rooms. After breakfast, we saunter along the parades or play a game of billiards. At night, we dance, but damn the place, I'm tired of it. Their regular hours stupefy me. Not a fiddle nor a card after 11. However, Mr. Faulkland's gentleman and I keep it up a little in private parties. I'll introduce you there, Thomas. You'll like him much.
Sure, I know, Mr. Dupayne. You know his master is to marry Madam Julia.
Well, I forgot. Mark, Thomas.
Zooks, 'tis the captain. Is that the lady with him?
No. That is Madam Lucy, my master's mistress's maid.
Odd, he's giving her money. Well, Mr. Fagg.
Goodbye, Thomas.
Indeed, ma'am, I transferred half the town in search of it. Don't believe there's a circulating library in Bath I haven't been at.
Could not you get the reward of constancy?
No, indeed, ma'am.
Nor the fatal connection?
No, indeed, ma'am.
Hey-ho. Did you inquire for the delicate distress?
Or the memoirs of Lady Woodford? Yes, indeed, ma'am. I asked everywhere for it. And I might have brought it back from Mr. Fredericks. But Lady Slattern Lounger, who had just sent it home, had so soiled and dog's-eared it wasn't fit for a Christian to read.
Hey-ho. Yes. I always know when Lady Slattern has been before me. She has a most observing thumb, and I believe cherishes her nails for the convenience of making marginal notes. Well, child, what have you brought me?
Here, ma'am. This is the Gordian knot. and Peregrine Pickle. Here are the Tears of Sensibility and Humphrey Clinker. And this is the Memoirs of a Lady of Quality written by herself.
Very well. Give me the sal volatile.
Is it in a blue cover, Ma'am?
My smelling bottle, you simpleton.
Oh, the drops. Here, Ma'am.
Hold, there's someone coming. Quick, see who it is. Surely I heard my cousin Julia's voice.
Oh, love, Ma'am. Here is Miss Melville come to see you.
Is it possible? My dearest Julia, how delighted am I. How unexpected was this happiness?
True, Lydia, and our pleasure is the greatest. But what has been the matter? You were denied to me at first.
Oh, Julia. I have 1,000 things to tell you. But first inform me, what has conjured you to Bath? Is Sir Anthony here?
He is. We are arrived within this hour. I suppose he will be here to wait on Mrs. Malaprop as soon as he is dressed.
Then before we are interrupted, let me impart to you some of my distress. My letters have informed you of my whole connection with Beverly. But I have lost him, Julia. My aunt has discovered our intercourse by a note she intercepted and has confined me ever since. Yet, would you believe it? She has fallen absolutely in love with a tall Irish baronet she met one night since we have been here at Lady McShuffle's rout.
You jest, Lydia.
No, upon my word. She really carries on a kind of correspondence with him, under a feigned name, though, till she chooses to be known to him. But it is a Delia or a Celia, I assure you.
Well, then surely she is now more indulgent to her needs.
Quite the contrary. Since she has discovered her own frailty, she has become more suspicious of mine. Then I must inform you of another plague. That odious Acres is to be in Bath today, so that I protest I shall be teased out of all spirits.
Come, come, Lydia, hope the best. Sir Anthony shall use his interest with Mrs. Malaprop.
But you have not heard the worst. Unfortunately, I had quarrelled with my poor Beverly just before my aunt made the discovery, and I have not seen him since to make it up.
What was his offence?
Nothing at all. But I don't know how it was. As often as we had been together, we had never had a quarrel. And somehow I was afraid he would never give me an opportunity. So, last Thursday, I wrote a letter to myself to inform myself that Beverly was at that time paying his addresses to another woman. I signed it, Your Friend Unknown, showed it to Beverly, charged him with his falsehood, put myself in a violent passion, and vowed I'd never see him more.
And you let him depart so and have not seen him since?
'Twas the next day my aunt made the discovery. I intended only to have teased him 3 days and a half, and now I've lost him forever.
Oh, if he's as sincere and deserving as you have represented him to me, he will never give you up so. Yet, consider, Lydia, you tell me he is but an ensign, and you have £30,000.
But you know I lose most of my fortune if I marry without my aunt's consent till of age, and that is what I have determined to do ever since I knew the penalty. Nor could I ever love the man who would wish to wait a day for the alternative.
Nay, this is caprice.
What? Does Julia tax me with caprice? I thought her love of Faulkland had inured her to it.
I do not love even his faults.
Well, Julia, you are your own mistress, though under the protection of Sir Anthony. Yet have you for this long year been the slave to the caprice, the whim, the jealousy of this ungrateful Faulkland, who will ever delay assuming the right of a husband while you suffer him to be equally imperious as a lover?
Nay, you are wrong entirely. We were contracted before my father's death. That, and some consequent embarrassments, have delayed what I know to be my Faulkland's most ardent wish. He is too generous to trifle on such a point. And for his character, were you wrong him there, too? No, Lydia, he is too proud, too noble to be jealous. Unused to the fopperies of love, he is negligent of the little duties expected from a lover, and not feeling why he should be loved to the degree he wishes, he still suspects that he is not loved enough. This temper, I must own, has cost me many unhappy hours, but I have learned to think myself his debtor for those imperfections which arise from the ardour of his attachment.
But tell me candidly, Julia, had he never saved your life, do you think you should be attached to him as you are? Believe me, the rude blast that overset your boat was a prosperous gale of love to him.
Gratitude may have strengthened my attachment to Mr. Faulkland, but I loved him before he had preserved me, yet surely that alone were an obligation sufficient.
Obligation? Navigation? Why, a water spaniel would have done as much. Well, I should never think of giving my heart to a man because he could swim.
Come, Lydia, you are too inconsiderate.
Nay, I do but jest.
Oh, Mum, here is Sir Anthony just returned home with your aunt.
Lucy, do you watch?
Yet I must go. Sir Anthony does not know I'm here, and if we meet, he'll detain me to show me the town. I'll take another opportunity of paying my respects to Mrs. Malaprop when she shall treat me as long as she chooses with her select words so ingeniously misapplied without being mispronounced.
Oh, no, Mum, they're both coming up the stairs.
Well, I'll not detain you, cuz. Adieu, my dear Julia. I'm sure you are in haste to send to Faulkland. There, through my room, you'll find another staircase.
Adieu.
Here, my dear, Lucy, have these books. Quick! Quick! Bring Peregrine Pickle under the toilet. Throw Roderick Random into the closet. Put the innocent adultery into the whole duty of man. Thrust 4 days' worth under the sofa.
Sofa.
Cram it behind the bolster. There!
Yes!
Put the man of feeling into your pocket, so. So! Now, lay Mrs. Chapone in sight and leave 4 dice of sermons open on the table.
Oh, burn it, Mum. The hairdresser has torn away as far as proper pride.
Never mind, open at sobriety. Bring me Lord Chesterfield's letters. Now for 'em.
There, Sir Anthony. There sits the deliberate simpleton who wants to disgrace her family and lavish herself on a fellow not worth a shilling.
Madam, I thought you once.
You thought, miss? I don't know what business you have to think at all. Thought doesn't become a young woman. But the point that we would request of you is that you will promise to forget this fellow. To illiterate him, I say, quite from your memory.
Ah, madam, our memories are independent of our wills. It is not easy to forget.
I say it is, miss. There's nothing on earth so easy as to forget if a person chooses to set about it. I'm sure I have as much forgot your poor dear uncle as if he had never existed. And I thought it my duty so to do.
What crime, madam, have I committed to be treated thus?
Oh, now, don't attempt to extirpate yourself from the matter. You know I have proof controvertible of this. But tell me, will you promise to do as you are bid? Will you take a husband of your friend's choosing?
Madam, I must tell you plainly that had I no preference for anyone else, the choice you have made would be my aversion.
What business have you, miss, with preference and aversion? They don't become a young woman. And you ought to know that as both always wear off, 'tis safest in matrimony to begin with a little aversion. I'm sure I hated your poor dear uncle before marriage as if he'd been a blackamoor. And yet, miss, you're sensible. What a wife I made. And when it pleased heaven to release me from him, 'tis unknown what tears I shed.
Suppose we were to offer you another choice.
Would you promise us to give up this Beverly?
Could I belie my thoughts so far as to give that promise, my actions would certainly as far belie my words.
Oh, take yourself to your room. You're fit company for nothing but your own ill humours.
Willingly, ma'am. I cannot change for the worse.
Oh, there's a little intricate hussy for you.
'Tis not to be wondered at, madam. All this is the natural consequence of teaching girls to read. Had I 1,000 daughters, madam, by heaven, I would rather have them talk black art as their alphabet.
Oh, nay, Sir Anthony. You're an absolute misanthropy.
On my way hither, Mrs. Malaprop, I observed your niece's maid coming from a circulating library. She had a book in each hand. They were half-bound volumes with marble covers. From that moment, I guessed how full of duty I should find her mistress.
Yes, those are vile places, indeed.
Madam, a circulating library in a town is as an evergreen tree of diabolical knowledge. It blossoms through the year. And depend upon it, Mrs. Malaprop, that they who are so fond of handling the leaves will long at last for the fruit.
Oh, fie, Sir Anthony. You surely speak laconically.
In moderation now, Mrs. Malaprop, what would you have a woman know?
Observe me, Sir Anthony.
I would by no means wish a daughter of mine to be a progeny of learning. I don't think so much learning becomes a young woman. For instance, I would never let her meddle with Greek or Hebrew or algebra or such inflammatory branches of learning. Neither would it be necessary for her to handle any of your astronomical, mathematical, diabolical instruments. But, Sir Anthony, I would send her at 9 years old to a boarding school in order to learn a little ingenuity and artifice. Then, sir, she should have a supercilious knowledge in accounts, and as she grew up, I would have her instructed in geometry, that she might know something of the contagious countries. But above all, Sir Anthony, she should be mistress of orthodoxy, that she might not misspell and mispronounce words so shamefully as girls usually do, and likewise that she might reprehend the true meaning of what she is saying. This, Sir Anthony, is what I would have a woman know, and I don't think there's a superstitious article in it.
Oh, well, Mrs. Malaprop, I will dispute the point no further with you. Though I must confess that you are a very moderate and polite arguer, for almost every third word you say is on my side of the question. But to the more important point of debate, you have no objection, you say, to my proposal.
Oh, none, I assure you. I'm under no positive engagement to Mr. Akers, and as Lydia seems so obstinate against him, perhaps your son may have better success.
I'll write for the boy directly. He knows not a syllable of all this yet, though I have had for some time the proposal in my head. He's at present with his regiment.
We've never seen your son, Sir Anthony. I hope no objection on his part.
Objection? Let him object if he dares. Oh, no, Mrs. Malaprop. Jack knows that the least demur puts me into a frenzy directly. Now, my process was always very simple. In his younger days, it was Jack, do this. If he demurred, I knocked him down. If he grumbled at that, I always sent him out of the room.
Aye, in the properest way, my conscience. Nothing is so conciliating to young people as severity. Well, Sir Anthony, I'll give Mr. Akers his discharge, and I'll prepare Lydia to receive your son's invocations. And I hope you'll represent her to the captain as an object not altogether illegible.
Well, depend upon it, Mrs. Malaprop. I'll handle the subject prudently. Yes, well, I must leave you. And let me beg of you, Mrs. Malaprop, to enforce this matter roundly with the girl. Take my advice. Keep a tight hand. If she rejects this proposal, clap her under lock and key. And if you're only to let the servants forget to bring her dinner for 3 or 4 days, you can't conceive how she'd come about. Oh, no. Lock and key.
Well, at any rate, I should be glad to get her from under my intuition. She has somehow discovered my partiality for Sir Lucius O'Trigger. Your Lucy can't have betrayed me. No, the girl is such a simpleton. I should have made her confess it. Lucy! Had she been one of your artificial ones, I should never have trusted her.
Did you call, Ma'am?
Yes, girl. Did you see Sir Lucius while he was out?
No, Ma'am. Not a glimpse of him.
Now, mind, Lucy, you never mentioned...
Oh, Gemini! I'd sooner cut my tongue out.
Oh, well, don't let your simplicity be imposed upon.
No, Ma'am.
Now, come to me presently. I'll give you another letter for Sir Lucius. But mind, Lucy, if ever you betray what you are entrusted with, unless it be other people's secrets to me, you forfeit my malevolence forever. And your being a simpleton shall be no excuse for your locality.
So, my dear Simplicity, let me give you a little respite. Let me see to what account I have turned my simplicity lately. For abetting Miss Lydia Languish in the design of running away with an ensign. In money, sundry times £12.12, gowns 5, hats, ruffles, caps, etc., etc., numberless. From the said ensign within this last month, 6 guineas and a half, about a quarter's pay. Item from Mrs. Malaprop for betraying the young people to her, when I found matters were likely to be discovered, 2 guineas and a black paduasoy. Item from Mr. Acres for carrying divers letters, which I never delivered, 2 guineas and a pair of buckles. Item from Sir Lucius O'Trigger, 3 crowns, 2 gold pocket pieces and a silver snuff box. Well done, Simplicity.
Is Mr. Faulkland returned?
Yes, he's above, sir, changing his dress.
Can you tell whether he has been informed of my father's and Miss Melville's arrival?
I fancy not, sir. He's seen no one since he came in but his gentleman, who was with him at Bristol. I think, sir, I hear Mr. Faulkland coming down now, sir.
Go, tell him I'm here. Now for my whimsical friend. As he does not know that his mistress is here, I'll tease him a little before I tell him. Faulkland! You're welcome to Bath again. You're punctual in your return.
Yes, I had nothing to detain me. When I finished the business, I went on. Well, what news since I left you? How stand matters between you and Lydia?
Oh, faith, much as they were. I've not seen her since our quarrel, but I expect to be recalled every hour.
Why don't you persuade her to go off with you at once?
What? And lose 2/3 of her fortune? No, you forget that, my friend. I could have brought her to that long ago.
Nay, then you trifle too long. If you are sure of her, propose to the aunt in your own character.
Softly, for though I am convinced my little Lydia would elope with me as Ensign Beverly, yet am I by no means certain she would take me. With the impediment of her aunt's consent, a regular humdrum wedding, and the reversion of a good fortune on my side. No. I must prepare her gradually for the discovery and make myself necessary to her before I risk it. Well, but Faulkland, you'll dine with us today at the hotel.
Oh, indeed I cannot. I'm not in spirits to be at such a party.
By heavens, I shall forswear your company. You are the most teasing, captious, incorrigible lover. Do love like a man.
I own I am unfit for company.
Am not I a lover? I and a romantic one, too. Yet do I carry everywhere with me such a confounded farrago of doubts, hopes, fears, wishes, and all the flimsy furniture of a country Mrs. Brain.
Ah, Jack, your heart and soul are not like mine, fixed immutably on one only object. Oh, you throw for a large stake, but losing you could stake and throw again. But I've set my sum of happiness on this cast, and not to succeed were to be stripped of all.
But for heaven's sake, what grounds for apprehension can your whimsical brain summon up at present?
What grounds for apprehension, did you say? Heavens, are there not 1,000? I fear for her spirits, her health, her life. My absence may fret her, her anxiety for my return, her fears for me may oppress her gentle temper. And for her health, does not every hour bring me some cause to be alarmed? If it rains, some shower may even then have chilled her delicate frame. If the wind be keen, some rude blast may have affected her. The heat of noon, the dews of evening may endanger the life of her, for whom only I value mine.
Faulkland, if you were convinced that Julia were well and in spirits, you would be entirely content.
I should be happy beyond measure.
Then to cure your anxiety at once, Miss Melville is in perfect health and is at this moment in Bath.
Can you be serious?
I thought you knew Sir Anthony better than to be surprised at a sudden whim of this kind.
My dear friend. Hello! Dupain! My hat! My dear Jack, now nothing on earth can give me a moment's uneasiness.
Sir, Mr. Acres, just arrived, is below.
Stay, Faulkland! This Acres lives within a mile of Sir Anthony. He will tell you how your mistress has been ever since you left her.
What, is he much acquainted in the family?
Oh, very intimate. I insist on your not going. Fag, show the gentleman up. Besides, his character will divert you.
Well, I should like to ask him a few questions.
He is likewise a rival of mine. That is, of my other selves. For he does not know that his friend, Captain Absolute, ever saw the lady in question, and it is ridiculous enough to hear him complain to me of one Ensign Beverly, a concealed, skulking rival who...
Mr. Acres.
My dear friend, noble captain and honest Jack, how dost thou? Just arrived, faith, as you see. Sir, your humble servant. Warm work on the roads, Jack. Odds, whips and wheels, I've travelled like a comet with a tail of dust all the way as long as the mouth.
Bob, you are indeed an eccentric planet. But we know your attraction hither. Give me leave to introduce Mr. Faulkland, Mr. Akers.
Hey, what, Jack? This is Mr. Faulkland.
Hi, Bob. Miss Melville's Mr. Faulkland.
Odds so, she and your father can be but just arrived afore me. I suppose you've seen them. Well, Mr. Faulkland, you are indeed a happy man.
I have not seen Miss Melville yet, sir. I hope she enjoyed full health and spirits in Devonshire.
Oh, never knew her better in my life, sir, never better. Odds, blushes and blooms, she's been as healthy as the German star.
Indeed. I did hear that she'd been a little indisposed.
False, sir. Only said to vex you. Quite the reverse, I assure you.
There, Jack, there, you see. She has the advantage of me. I had almost fretted myself ill.
Now you are angry with your mistress for not having been sick.
No, you misunderstand me. Yet surely a little trifling indisposition is not an unnatural consequence of absence from those we love. Now confess. Isn't there something unkind in this violent, robust, unfeeling health?
Oh, it was very unkind of her to be well in your absence, to be sure.
Good apartments, Jack.
Well, sir, but you were saying that Miss Melville has been so exceedingly well. What, she'd be merry and gay, I suppose? Always in spirits?
Merry odds. Cricket, she's been the belle and spirit of the company wherever she's been. So lively and entertaining, so full of wit and humour.
There, Jack, there. Oh, by my soul. There is an innate levity in woman that nothing can overcome. What? Happy? And I away?
What's the matter with the gentleman?
Oh, he's only expressing his great satisfaction that Julia is so well and happy. That's all, Faulkland?
Oh, I'm rejoiced to hear it, yes. Yes. Well, she has a happy disposition?
Oh, but she has indeed. And she is so accomplished, so sweet a voice, so expert in her harpsichord, such a mistress of flat and sharp, squalletly, rumbletly, and quiverently. There was this time, month, odds, minims, and crotchets. How she'd a chirrup at Mrs. Piano's concert.
There again, what say you to this? You see, she has been all mirth and song. It's not a thought of me. Pray, Mr. What's his damn name? Do you remember what songs Miss Melville sung?
Not I, indeed.
Oh, stay now. There were some pretty melancholy, purling stream airs.
Now I recollect one of them.
My heart's my own, my will is free, and so shall be my voice.
No mortal man shall wed with me till first he's made my choice.
Let parents roll cry nature's laws, and children still obey. And is there then no saving clause against tyrannic sway?
Fool that I am to fix all my happiness on such a trifler. To make herself the pipe and ballad monger of a circle? To soothe her light heart with catches and glees? Sir? And she has been dancing too, I doubt not.
What's the gentleman say about dancing?
He says the lady we speak of dances as well as she sings.
So truly does she. There wasn't our last race ball.
The hell and the devil there! There! I told you so. Oh, I told you so. Horse thrives in my absence. Dancing! But her whole feelings have been in opposition to mine. I've been anxious, silent, pensive, sedentary. My days have been hours of care, my nights of watchfulness. She has been all health, laugh, spirit, song, dance. Oh, damned levity.
For heaven's sake, Faulkland.
Well, I'll contain myself. Perhaps, as you say, for form's sake. What, Mr. Akers, you were praising Miss Melville's manner of dancing a minuet, hey?
Daren't sure for that. No, what I was going to speak of was a country dancing. Swimming, she has such an air with her.
Now disappointment on her. Defend this, Absolute. Why don't you defend this? Country dances. Jigs and reels. Am I to blame now? A minuet I could have forgiven. I should not have minded that. I say, I should not have regarded a minuet. But country dances...
If there be but one vicious mind in the circle, it will spread like contagion. The action of their pulse beats to the lascivious movement of the jig. Their quivering, warm breath sighs impregnate the very atmosphere. The air becomes electrical to love, and each amorous spirit darts through every link of the chain.
I must leave you now. I own I'm somewhat flurried. And that confounded Luby has perceived it.
Stay, Faulkland, and thank Mr. Akers for his good news.
Damn his news.
The gentleman weren't angry at my praising his mistress, was he?
Oh, a little jealous, I believe, Bob.
You don't say so. Jealous of me? That's a good joke.
There's nothing strange in that, Bob, let me tell you. That sprightly grace and insinuating air of yours will do some mischief among the ladies here.
Oh, you joke. Mischief. But you know I am not my own property. My dear Lydia has forestalled me. She could never abide me in the country because I used to dress so badly. With odds, frogs, and timbers, I shan't take matters so here. Now ancient madam has no voice in it. I shall make my old clothes know who's master. I shall straightway cashier the hunting frock and render my leather breeches incapable. My hair has been in training some time.
Oh.
You know, the side curls are a little restive. My hind part takes to it very kindly.
You'll polish, I doubt not.
Absolutely, I propose so. And if I can find out this Ensign Beverly, it's triggers and flints, I'll make him know the difference of it.
Spoke like a man. But pray, Bob, I observe you've got an odd method of a new way of swearing.
Oh, you taking notice of it? 'Tis genteel, isn't it? I didn't invent it myself, though, but a commander in our militia, great scholar, I assure you, says there's no meaning in the common oaths, and that nothing but their antiquity makes them respectable. Because he says the ancients would never stick to an oath or two, but would say, by Jove, or by Bacchus, or by Mars, according to the sentiment. So that to swear with propriety, says my little major, the oath should be an echo to the sense. And this be called the oath referential or sentimental swearing. It's genteel, isn't it?
Very genteel.
Sir, there is a gentleman below desires to see you. Shall I show him in?
Aye, you may.
Well, I must be gone.
Stay, who is it, Bag?
Your father, sir.
You puppy! Why didn't you show him up directly?
You have business with Sir Anthony. I expect a message from Mrs. Malaprop at my lodgings. I have sent also to my dear friend Sir Lucius O'Trigger. Mad you, Jack? We must meet at night when you shall give me a dozen bumpers to little Lydia.
That I will with all my heart. Now for a parental lecture. I hope he knows nothing of the business that has brought me here. I wish to God the gout had held him fast in Devonshire with all my soul. Sir, I'm delighted to see you here and looking so well. Your sudden arrival at Bath made me apprehensive for your health.
Very apprehensive, I dare say, Jack. What are you, you're recruiting here, are you?
Yes, sir, I am on duty.
I'm glad to see you, Jack, though I did not expect it, for I was going to write to you on a little matter of business. Now, Jack, I've been considering that I grow so old and infirm, I shall probably not trouble you long.
Pardon me, sir, I never saw you look more strong and hearty, and I pray frequently that you may continue so.
And I hope your prayers may be heard with all my heart. Yes, well, then, Jack, I've been considering that I'm so strong and hearty that I may continue to plague you for some time yet. Now, Jack, I'm sensible that the income from your commission and what I have hitherto allowed you is but a small pittance for a lad of your spirit.
Sir, you are very good.
And it is my wish, while yet I live, to see my boy make some figure in the world. I am resolved, therefore, to fix you at once in a noble independence.
Sir, your kindness overpowers me. Such generosity makes the gratitude of reason more lively than the sensations even of filial affection.
You shall be master of a large estate within a few months.
Let my future life, sir, show my gratitude. I cannot express the sense I have of your munificence.
Good boy. Well done, Jack.
Yes, sir, I presume you would not wish me to quit the army.
Huh? Oh, that shall be as your wife chooses.
My wife, sir?
Aye. Settle that between you. Settle that between you.
A wife, sir, did you say?
Aye, a wife. Why did I not mention her before?
Not a word of her, sir.
Oh. So, yes, mustn't forget her, though. Yes, Jack, the independence I was talking of is by way of a marriage. The fortune is settled with a wife, but I suppose that makes no difference.
Sir, you amaze me.
Oh, what the devil's the matter now? Just now you're all gratitude and beauty.
I was, sir. You spoke to me of independence and a fortune, but not a word of a wife.
What difference does that make? If you want the estate, you must have it as it stands, with the livestock on it.
Pray, sir, who is the lady?
What's that to you, sir? No, now come, Jack. Give me your promise to love and to marry her directly.
Sure, sir, this is not very reasonable to summon my affections for a lady I know nothing of.
Well, I'm sure it's more unreasonable in you to object to a lady you know nothing of.
Then, sir, I must tell you plainly that my inclinations are fixed on another. My heart is engaged to an angel.
Well, then, pray, let your heart send an excuse. Tell her 'tis very sorry, but business prevents it waiting on her.
You must excuse me, sir, if I tell you once and for all that in this matter I cannot obey you.
Now, harkye, Jack. I've heard you for some time with patience. I've been cool, quite cool, but take care. You know I am compliance itself when I am not thwarted. No one more easily led when I have my own way.
I must repeat it, sir. In this I cannot obey you.
How damn me! If ever I call you Jack again.
Nay, but hear me,
No,
sir.
I won't hear a word, sir. Not a word, not one word. Now, give me a promise by a nod, and I'll tell you what, Jack. I mean, you dog. If you don't, I'll...
What? Promise to link myself to some mass of ugliness?
Soon, sir. The lady shall be as ugly as I choose. She shall have a hump on each shoulder. She shall be as crooked as the crescent. Her one eye shall roll like the bulls in Cox's museum. She shall have the skin of a mummy and the beard of a Jew. She shall be all this, sir, yet I'll make you ogle her all day and sit up all night to write sonnets to her beauty.
Now, this is reason and moderation, indeed.
None of your sneering, puppy, none of your grinning jackanapes.
Indeed, sir, I never was in a worse humour for mirth in my life.
'Tis false, sir. I know you're laughing in your sleeve. I know you'll grin when I'm gone, sir.
Sir, I hope I know my duty better.
Oh, none of your passion, sir. None of your violence. It won't do with me, sir, I promise you.
Indeed, sir, I never was cooler in my life.
'Tis a confounded lie. I know you're in a passion in your heart, sir. I know you are, you hypocritical young dog, you, but it won't do.
Nay, sir, upon my word.
So you will fly out. Why can't you be cool like me? What the devil good compassion do? Passion is of no service. You impudent, insolent, overbearing dog, you. You sneer again. Now, don't provoke me. You rely upon the mildness of my temper. You do, you dog. You play upon the meekness of my disposition. But take care. The patience of a saint may be overcome at last. Now, mark, I give you 6 hours and a half to consider of this. If you then agree, without any conditions, to do everything on earth that I choose, why then, confound you, I may in time forgive you.
What a tender method of giving his opinion in these matters Sir Anthony has. I dare not trust him with the truth. I wonder what old wealthy hag he has in mind to bestow on me. Yet he himself married for love, and was in his youth a bold intriguer.
Assuredly, sir, our father is wroth to a degree. He comes downstairs, 8 or 10 steps at a time, muttering and growling and thumping the banisters all the way. Upon my credit, sir, were I in your place and found my father such very bad company, I should certainly drop his acquaintance.
Cease your impertinence, sir. Stand out of my way.
So, Sir Anthony Trim's my master. He's afraid to reply to his father, then vents his spleen on poor Fag. When one is vexed by one person, to revenge oneself on another who happens to come in the way is the vilest injustice.
Mr. Fag, your master calls you.
Sir Lucius is generally more punctual when he expects to hear from his dear Dahlia, as he calls her. Oh, I wonder he's not here yet. I have a scruple of conscience from this deceit. But I should not be so well paid if my hero knew that Delia was near 50 and her own mistress.
Ah! My little ambassadors! Upon my conscience, I've been looking for you. I've been on the South Parade this half hour.
Oh, Gemini, and I've been waiting for your worship here on the North.
Faith, maybe that was the reason we did not meet. Well, my little girl, have you got nothing for me?
Yes, but I have. I've got a letter for you in my pocket.
Oh, Faith, I knew you weren't come empty-handed. Well, let me see what the dear creature says.
There it is, Sir Lucius.
Sir, there is often a sudden, insensate impulse in love that has a greater induction than years of domestic combination. Such was the commotion I felt at the first superfluous view of Sir Lucius O'Trigger. Oh, it's very pretty, upon my word. Female punctuation forbids me to say more, yet let me add that it will give me joy infallible to find Sir Lucius worthy the last criterion of my affections. Delia. Oh, upon my conscience, Lucy, your lady is a great mistress of language. Faith, she's quite the queen of the dictionary. For the devil a word dare refuse coming at her call, though one would think it was quite out of hearing.
Aye, sir, lady of her experience.
Experience? What? At 17?
True, but she reads so.
And she must be very deep-read to write this way, though. She is rather an arbitrary writer, too, for here are a great many poor words pressed into the service of this note that would get their habeas corpus from any court in Christendom.
Ah, Sir Lucius, if you could only hear how she talks of you.
Ah? Tell her I'll make her the best husband in the world. And Lady O'Trigger into the bargain. But first, we must get the old gentlewoman's consent and do everything fairly.
Nay, Sir Lucius, I thought you weren't rich enough to be so nice.
Upon my word, young girl, you've hit it. I'm so poor I can't afford to do a dirty action. If I didn't want money, I'd steal your mistress and her fortune with a great deal of pleasure. However, my pretty little girl, here is a little something to buy you a riband. Meet me this evening, and I'll give you an answer to this. In the meantime, your baggage, give me a kiss to put you in mind.
Lord, Sir Lucius, I never seen such a gemman. My lady won't like it if you're so impudent.
Faith, she will, Lucy. That same, what's the name of it? Modesty is a quality more praised by the women than liked. So if your mistress asks you if Sir Lucius ever gave you a kiss, tell her 50, my dear.
What? Would you have me lie to her?
Faith, your baggage. I'll make it a truth presently.
For shame now. There's someone coming.
Faith, I'll quiet your conscience.
So, Sir Ma, I humbly beg your pardon.
Oh, Lord, Mr. Fag. How you flurry one so.
Come, Lucy. Here's no one by, so a little less simplicity with a grain or two more sincerity, if you please. Now, you play false with us, madam. I saw you give the baronet a letter. My master shall know this, and if he doesn't call him out, I will.
You gentlemen's gentlemen are so hasty. That letter was from Mrs. Malaprop's simpleton. She is taken with Sir Lucius's address.
What taste some people have. Why? And I suppose I have walked past her window 100 times? What says our young lady? Any message to my master?
Oh, sad news, Mr. Fagg. A worse rival than Acres. Sir Anthony Absolute has proposed his son.
What? Captain Absolute?
Yep, even so, I overheard it all.
My father wants to force me to marry the very girl I'm plotting to run away. He must not know of my association with her yet awhile. He has too summary a method of proceeding in these matters. However, I'll read my recantation instantly. My conversion is something sudden indeed, but I can assure him it is very sincere. Now for a penitential face.
Well, die sooner than forgive him. Die, did I say? I'll live these 50 years just to peg him. At our last meeting, his impudence almost put me out of temper. An obstinate, passionate, self-willed boy. Who does he take after? Must be his mother. This is my return. For getting him at 12 years old into a marching regiment and allowing him £50 a year besides his pay ever since. I'm done with him. He's anybody's son for me. I'll never see him again. Never. Get out of her. Never. 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 Hurry. Get out of my way!
Sir, you see a penitent before you.
I see an impudent scoundrel before me.
A sincere penitent, I am come, sir, to acknowledge my errors and to submit entirely to your will.
What's that?
I have been reflecting and revolving and considering on your past goodness and kindness and condescension towards me.
Well, sir?
I have likewise been weighing and balancing what you were pleased to mention concerning duty and obedience and authority.
Well, puppy.
Well, sir, the result of my reflections is a resolution to sacrifice all of my own inclinations to your satisfaction.
Why, now you talk sense. Absolute sense. I never heard anything more sensible in my life. Confound you! You shall be Jack again.
Ah, I am happy in the appellation.
I am Jack, my dear Jack. I will now inform you who the lady really is. Nothing but your passion and your violence, you silly fellow, prevented me from telling you at first. Get out of it! What think you of Miss Lydia Languish?
Languish? What, the Languishes of Worcestershire?
Worcestershire? No! Did you never meet Mrs. Malaprop and her niece, Miss Lydia Languish, who came into our county just before you were ordered back to your regiment?
Malaprop, Languish? I don't remember ever to have heard the names before. Yet. Stay, I think I recollect something.
Languish.
Languish. She squints, don't she? Little red-haired girl.
Squints? Little red-haired? No.
Oh, I must have forgot. Can't be the same person, then.
Jack, now, what think you of blooming, love-breathing 17?
Well, as to that, sir, I'm quite indifferent. If I can please you in this affair, 'tis all I desire.
But Jack, such eyes, such eyes, so innocently wild, so bashfully irresolute. Not a glance, but speaks and kindles some thoughts of love. And then Jack, her cheeks. Oh, Jack, her cheeks. So deeply blushing at the insinuations of her telltale eyes. And then Jack, her lips. Lips smiling at their own discretion. And if not smiling, then more sweetly pouting. More lovely and sullenness. Then Jack, her neck. Oh, her neck, Jack.
And which is to be mine, sir? The niece or the aunt?
Why, you unfeeling, insensitive puppy. When I was your age, such a description would have made me fly like a rocket. The aunt, indeed. When I ran away with your mother, I would not have touched anything old or ugly to gain an empire.
Not to please your father, sir.
To please my father. No. Ah. Well, yes, and to please my father, if my father had so desired. But he was not the indulgent father that I am, Jack.
No, I dare say not, sir.
But come, Jack. You're not sorry to find your mistress so beautiful, are you?
Sir, I repeat it, if I can please you in this affair, 'tis all I desire. Not that I think a woman the worse for being handsome, but if you please to recollect, sir, you before mentioned something about a hump or two, one eye, and a few more graces of that kind. Now, without being very nice, I own I should rather choose a wife of mine to have the usual number of limbs and a limited quantity of back. And though one eye may be very agreeable, yet, as the prejudice has always run in favor of two, I would not wish to affect a singularity in that article.
What a phlegmatic sot it is. You, a soldier, you're a walking block. I've a great mind to marry the girl myself.
Oh, if you should think of addressing Miss Languish yourself, I suppose you would have me marry the aunt. Or, if you should change your mind and take the old lady, 'tis the same to me. I'll marry the niece.
Now, come, Jack. I'm sure your indifference on such a subject is all a lie. Come, confess. You've been lying, haven't you?
I'm sorry, sir, that the respect and duty which I bear you should be so mistaken.
No, hang your respect and duty. You shall visit the lady directly.
She's coming. Yes.
I had not hoped to see you again so soon.
Could I, Julia, be contented with my first welcome?
Oh, Faulkland. When your kindness can make me thus happy, let me not think that I discovered something of coldness in your first salutation.
Oh, 'twas with your fancy, Julia. I was rejoiced to see you. To see you in such health. Sure, I had no cause for coldness.
Nay, then, I see you have taken something ill. You must not conceal from me what it is.
Well, then, shall I own to you that my joy at hearing of your health and arrival here by your neighbour Acres was somewhat damped by his dwelling much on the high spirits you had enjoyed in Devonshire, on your singing, your mirth, dancing, and I know not what.
Must I never cease to tax my Faulkland with this teasing, minute caprice? Can the idle reports of a silly boor weigh in your breast against my tried affection?
Oh, they have not weight with me, Julia. No, I'm happy that you've been so. Only say that you did not sing with mirth. Say that you thought of Faulkland and the dance.
I never can be happy in your absence. Believe me, Faulkland, I mean not to upbraid you when I say that I have often dressed sorrow in smiles, lest my friend should guess whose unkindness had caused my tears.
Search your heart. Perhaps what you've mistaken for love is but the warm effusion of a too thankful heart.
For what quality must I love you?
For no quality. To regard me for any quality of mind or understanding were only to esteem me. And for person. I have often wished myself deformed to be convinced that I owed no obligation there to any part of your affection, Julia. I despise person in a man. Yet if you loved me as I wished, though I were an Ethiop, you'd think none so fair.
I see you are determined to be unkind. The contract which my poor father bound us in gives you more than a lover's privilege.
Again, Julia, you raise ideas that feed and justify my doubts. I would not have been more free. No. I'm proud of my restraint. Yet, perhaps your high regard for this solemn compact has fettered your inclinations, which else had made a worthier choice.
Then try me now. Let us be free as strangers as to what is past. My heart will not feel more liberty.
There now. You're so hasty, Julia. So anxious to be free. If your love for me were fixed and ardent, you would not loose your hold even though I wished it.
Oh, you torture me to the heart.
Hear me. All my doubts and fears arise from this. Women are not used to weigh and separate the motives of their affections. The cold dictates of prudence, gratitude, or filial duty may sometimes be mistaken for the pleadings of the heart.
I know not whither your insinuations would tend, but as they seem pressing to insult me, I will spare you the regret of having done so. I have given you no cause for this.
In tears? No, stay, Julia, stay but for a moment. The door is fastened. Julia, my soul! But for one moment!
Your being Sir Anthony's son, Captain, would itself be a sufficient accommodation. But from the ingenuity of your appearance, I am convinced that you deserve the character here given of you.
Permit me to say, madam, that as I have not yet had the pleasure of seeing Miss Languish, my principal inducement in this affair so far is the honour of being allied to Mrs. Malaprop, of whose intellectual accomplishments, elegant manners, and unaffected learning no tongue is silent.
Sir, you do me infinite honour. Oh, I beg, Captain, you'll be seated. Few gentlemen nowadays know how to value the ineffectual qualities in a woman. Few think how a little knowledge becomes a gentlewoman. Men have no sense now but for the worthless flower of beauty.
It is but too true indeed, madam. Yet I fear our ladies should share the blame. They think our admiration of beauty so great that knowledge in them would be superfluous. Thus, like garden trees, they seldom show their fruit till time has robbed them of the more specious blossom. Few, like Mrs. Malaprop and the orange tree, are rich in both at once.
Oh, sir, you overpower me with good breeding. You are the very pineapple of politeness. You are not ignorant, Captain, that this giddy girl has somehow contrived to fix her affections on a beggarly, strolling, eavesdropping ensign whom none of us has met and nobody knows anything of.
Oh, I have heard of that silly affair before, but I'm not at all prejudiced against her on that account.
Oh, you're very good and very considerate, Captain. I'm sure I've done everything in my power since I exploded the affair. Long ago, I laid my positive conjunctions on her never to think on the fellow again. I have since laid Sir Anthony's preposition before her, but I'm sorry to say she seems resolved to decline every particle that I enjoy in her.
It must be very distressing indeed, ma'am.
Oh, it gives me the hydrostatics to such a degree. I thought she had persisted from corresponding with him, but behold, this very morning, I interceded another letter from the fellow. Ah, here it is.
The little traitress, Lucy.
There. Perhaps you may know the writing.
Yes, I think I have seen the hand before.
Nay. Oh, read it, Captain.
My soul's idol, my adored Lydia. It's very tender indeed.
Tender? I am profane, too, on my conscience.
Ah. I am excessively alarmed at the intelligence you send me, the more so as my new rival...
That's you, sir?
...has universally the character of being an accomplished gentleman and a man of honor. Well, that's handsome enough.
Oh, the fellow has some design in writing so.
That he had indeed. I'll answer for him, ma'am.
But go on, sir. You'll see presently.
As for the old weather-beaten she-dragon who guards you... Who can he mean by that?
He, sir. Me? He means me there? What do you think now? Go on a little further.
Impudent scoundrel. It shall go hard, but I will elude her vigilance, as I am told that the same ridiculous vanity, which makes her dress up her coarse features, and deck her dull chat with hard words which she don't understand.
There, sir! An attack upon my language! What do you think of that? An aspersion upon my parts of speech. Was ever such a brute? Sure, if I reprehend anything in this world, it is the use of my oracular tongue and a nice derangement of epitaphs.
He deserves to be hanged and quartered. Let me see. Same ridiculous vanity.
You need not read it again, sir.
Well, I beg your pardon, ma'am. Does also lay her open to the grossest deceptions from flattery and pretended admiration. What an impudent coxcomb! So that I have a scheme to see you shortly with the old Harridan's consent, and even to make her a go-between in our interviews. Was ever such assurance...
Did you ever hear anything like it? He'll elude my vigilance with... Oh, we'll see if he can. He's very likely to enter those doors. We'll try who can plot best.
So we will, ma'am, so we will. But, Mrs. Maloney, seeing as the girl seems so infatuated with this fellow, suppose you were to wink at her corresponding with him for a little while. Let her even plot an elopement with him. Then do you connive at her escape, while I, just in the nick, will have the fellow laid by the heels and fairly contrive to carry her off in his stead.
Delighted with the scheme. Never was anything better perpetrated.
But, Mrs. Malaprop, could I not see the young lady for a few minutes? I should like to try her temper a little.
Well, I don't know. I doubt if she's prepared for a visit of this kind. There is a decorum, you know.
Oh, Lord, she won't mind me. Only tell her Beverly.
Oh, Beverly, what?
I was going to propose that you should say to her, by way of jest, that it was Beverly who was below. She'd come down fast enough then.
Oh, 'tis a trick she'd well deserve. Besides, you know the fellow tells her he'll get my consent to see her. Let him if he can, I say again. Lydia, come down here. He'll make me a go-between in their visits. Lydia, come down, I say. I don't wonder at your laughing. His impudence is truly ridiculous.
But it is very ridiculous indeed, Ma'am.
The little hussy won't hear. Well, I'll go and tell her who it is. I'll tell her that Captain Absolute is come to wait on her. And I'll make her behave as becomes a young woman.
As you please, Ma'am.
For the present, Captain, your servant.
What a scene am I now to go through? Surely nothing could be more dreadful than to be obliged to listen to the loathsome addresses of a stranger to one's heart. I have heard of girls persecuted as I am who have appealed on behalf of their favoured lover to the generosity of his rival. Suppose I were to try it.
One would think now that I could throw off all disguise at once and seize my prize with security, but such is Lydia's caprice that to undeceive were probably to lose her.
There stands the hated rival. An officer, too. But oh, how unlike my Beverly. I wonder he don't begin. Truly, he seems a very negligent wooer. I'll speak first. Captain Absolute.
Madam.
Oh, heavens! Beverly!
Hush, hush, my life. Be not surprised.
I'm so astonished and so terrified and so overjoyed. For heaven's sakes, how came you here?
Briefly, I have deceived your aunt. I was informed that my new rival was to visit here this evening, and contriving to have him kept away, have passed myself on her for Captain Absolute.
Oh, charming. And she really takes you for young Absolute.
Oh, she's convinced of it. But we trifle with our precious moments. Such another opportunity may not occur. Then let me now conjure my kind, my condescending angel to fix a time when I may rescue her from undeserved persecution, and with a licensed warmth plead for my reward.
Will you then, Beverly, consent to forfeit that portion of my paltry wealth, that burden on the wings of love?
Oh, come to me rich only thus, in loveliness. Bring no portion to me but thy love. 'Twill be generous in you, Lydia, for well you know it is the only dower your poor Beverly can repay.
How persuasive are his words. How charming will poverty be with him.
Ah, my soul, what a life will we then live, abjuring all worldly toys to centre every thought and action there. Proud of calamity, we will enjoy the wreck of wealth, while the surrounding gloom of adversity shall make the flame of our pure love show doubly bright. By heavens, I would fling all goods of fortune from me, with a prodigal hand to enjoy the scene, where I might clasp my Lydia to my bosom, and say the world affords no smile to me but here.
Now could I fly with him to the Antipodes. But my persecution is not yet come to a crisis.
So pensive, Lydia, is then your warmth abated?
No, nor ever can while I have life. Think not the idle threats of my ridiculous aunt can have any weight with me. Let her choice be Captain Absolute, but Beverly is mine.
Thus, then, let me enforce my suit.
I can contain no longer. Why, thou vixen! I have overheard you! Captain Absolute, I know not how to apologize for her shocking rudeness.
I have hopes, madam, that time will bring the young lady into...
Oh, there's nothing to be hoped from her. She's as headstrong as an allegory on the banks of the Nile.
Nay, madam, what do you charge me with now?
Why, thou unblushing rebel. Didn't you tell this gentleman to his face that you loved another better? Didn't you say that you never could be his?
No, madam, I did not.
Oh, good heavens. Such assurance. Lydia, you ought to know that lying don't become a young woman. Didn't you boast that Beverly, that stroller Beverly, possessed your heart?
'Tis true, ma'am, and none but Beverly.
Oh, hold, assurance, you shall not be so rude.
Nay, madam, don't stop the young lady's speech. She's very welcome to talk thus. It does not hurt me in the least, I'm sure.
You're very good, Captain. Very amiably patient. Come along, miss. Let us see you again soon, Captain, and remember what we fixed.
I shall indeed, ma'am.
Indeed, David. Do you think I become it so?
You're quite another creature. Believe me, master, by the mass. And with any luck, as we'll see the Devon Monkey Rony and all the print shops in Bath.
Dress does make a difference, David.
Why, and he were to go now to Clod Hall, I'm certain the old lady wouldn't know he. Master Butler wouldn't believe his own eyes. And I warrant Dolly Tester, your honour's favourite, blush like my waistcoat. Oons will hold a gallon, there aren't a dog in the house but will bark. And I question whether Phyllis would wag a hair of her tail.
Aye, David. There's nothing like polishing.
So I says of your honour's boots, but the boy never heeds me.
But, David, has Mr. Delagrasse been here? I must rub up my balancing and chasing and boarding.
I'll call again, sir.
Do. And see if there are any letters for me at the post office.
I will. By the mass, I can't help looking at your head. If I hadn't been by at the cooking, I wish I may die if I should have known the dish again myself.
Sink, slide, coupe. Oh, it's jigs and tabers. These outlandish heathen Allemands and cotillons are quite beyond me. I shall never prosper at them, that's sure. Mine are true-born English legs. They don't understand their cursed French lingo. They're paws this and paws that and paws the other. Damn me, my feet don't like to be called paws. Well, 'tis certain I have most anti-Gallican toes.
Here is Sir Lucius O'Trigger to wait on you, sir.
Show him in.
Mr. Akers, I'm delighted to embrace you.
My dear Sir Lucius, I kiss your hands.
Well, my dear friend, and what brings you so suddenly to Bath?
Faith, I have followed Cupid's jack-o'-lantern and find myself in a quagmire at last. In short, I have been very ill-used, Sir Lucius. I don't choose to mention names, but look on me as a very ill-used gentleman.
But pray, what's the case? I ask no names.
Mark me, Sir Lucius. I fall as deep as need be in love with a young lady. Her friends take my part. I follow her to Bath, send word of my arrival, and receive answer that the lady is to be otherwise disposed of. This, Sir Lucius, I call being ill-used.
Very ill, upon my conscience. But pray, can you divine the cause of it?
Why, there's the matter. She has another lover. One Beverly, who I am told is now in Bath. Oh, slanders and lies, he must be at the bottom of it.
A rival in the case, is there? And you think he's supplanted you unfairly?
Unfairly? To be sure he has. He never could have done it fairly.
To be sure you know what must be done.
Not I, upon my life.
We wear no swords here, but you understand me.
What, fight him?
Aye, to be sure, what can I mean else?
But he's given me no provocation.
I think he's given you the greatest provocation in the world. Can a man commit a more heinous sin against another than to fall in love with the same woman? By my soul, it's the most unpardonable breach of friendship.
Breach of friendship? Aye, aye. But I have no acquaintance with this man. I never saw him in my life.
That's no argument at all. He has the less right, then, to take such a liberty.
That's true. I grow full of anger, Sir Lucius. I fire apace. Odds, hilts and blades, I find a man may have a deal of valour in him and not know it. But couldn't I contrive to have a little right on my side?
What signifies rights when your honour's concerned? Do you think Achilles or me little Alexander the Great ever inquired where the right lay? No, by my soul, they drew their broadswords and let the lazy sons of peace settle the justice of it.
Your words are a grenadier's march to my heart. I believe courage must be catching. I certainly do feel a kind of valour rising, as it were, a kind of courage, as I may say. Odds, flints, pans and triggers, I'll challenge him directly.
Oh, my little friend, If I had Blunderbuss Hall here, I could show you a range of ancestry in the old O'Trigger line, every one of whom killed his man.
Oh, Sir Lucius, I have had ancestors too, every man of them colonel or captain in the militia. The thunder of your words has soured the milk of human kindness in my breast. I could do such deeds!
No, come, there must be no passion at all in the case. These things should always be done civilly.
I must be in a passion, Sir Lucius! I must be in a rage!
No,
Sir Lucius! Let me be in a rage if you love me. Come, here's pen and paper. I put the ink with red. Indict, I say, indict. It's bullets and blades, all right. A good bold hand, however.
Oh, compose yourself.
Come now, shall I begin with an oath? Do, Sir Lucius, let me begin with a damn.
Do the thing decently and like a Christian. Begin now. Sir.
That's too civil by half.
To prevent the confusion that might arise...
Well...
From our both addressing the same lady...
there's the reason. Same lady. Well...
I shall expect the honour of your company.
As soon as I'm not asking into dinner.
Pray be easy.
Well, in honour of your company...
To settle our pretensions.
Well...
Now, let me see. Kingsmead Fields will do. In Kingsmead Fields.
So, that's done. I'll fold it up presently. My own crest. A hand and dagger shall be the seal.
Now, I leave you to fix your time yourself. Take my advice, you'll decide it this evening if you can, and then let the worst come of it. It'll be off your mind tomorrow.
Very true.
Now, I would see nothing more of you unless it be by letter until this evening. I would do myself the honour to carry your message. But to tell you a secret, I believe I shall have such another affair on my own hands. There is a gay captain here who put a jest on me lately at the expense of my country, and I only want to fall in with that gentleman to call him out.
By my valour, I should like to see you fight first. I should like to see you kill him, if it was only to get a little lesson.
Well, I shall be very proud of instructing you. Well, for the present. But remember, when you meet your antagonist, do everything in a mild and agreeable manner. Let your courage be as keen, but at the same time as polished as your sword.
Farewell, ungrateful traitor, farewell, farewell, my perjured swain. Let never injured creature, let never injured creature believe a man again. The pleasure of possessing surpasses all expressing, but 'tis too short a blessing, and love
Mass, sir, I do no such thing. Ne'er a Sir Lucius O'Trigger in the kingdom to make me fight when I weren't so minded. That's what the old lady say when she hears of it.
Oh, David! If you had heard Sir Lucius, sparks and flames, he would have roused your valour.
Naughty indeed, I ain't such bloodthirsty cormorants. I never knowed any good come of them.
But my honour, David, my honour. I must be very careful of my honour.
Aye, by the mass, and I would be very careful of it. And I think in return my honour couldn't do less than to be very careful of me.
Oh, plagues, David! No gentleman will ever risk the loss of his honour.
I say then it be but civil in honour never to risk the loss of the gentleman. Look'ee, master, this honour seems to me a marvellous false friend. Aye, truly a very courtier-like servant. Put the case I was a gentleman, which thank God no one can say of me. Well, my honour makes me quarrel with another gentleman of my acquaintance. So we fight. Pleasant enough that. Bah! I kill him. The more's my luck. Now pray, who gets the profit of it? Why, my honour. But put the case that he kills me. By the mass, I go to the worms and my honour whips over to my enemy.
No, David, in that case, odds crowns and laurels. Your honour follows you to the grave.
Now
that's just the place I can make a shift to do without it.
Zounds, David, you are a coward. It don't become my valet to listen to you. What, shall I disgrace my ancestors? Think of that, David. Think what it would be to disgrace my ancestors.
Under favour, the surest way of not disgracing them is to keep as long as he can out of their company. Look ye now, master. Go to them in such haste. With an ounce of lead in your brains. I should think might as well be let alone.
David, you don't think there is such very, very, very great danger, eh? Odds life people often fight without any mischief done.
By the mass, I think 'tis 10 to 1 against thee. Oh, is he to meet with some lion-headed feller, I warrant, with his damn double-barrelled swords and cut-and-thrust pistols? I suppose there aren't so merciless a beast in the world as your loaded pistol.
Zounds, I won't be afraid. Odds, fire and fury, you shan't make me afraid. Here is the challenge, and I have sent for my dear friend Jack Absolute to carry it for me.
Aye, in the name of mischief, let he be the messenger. 'Tis, as I may say, a designing and malicious-looking letter. I warrant, smells of gunpowder like a soldier's pouch. Owns I wouldn't swear it mayn't go off.
Out you pull through, you have the valour of a grasshopper.
Well, I'll say no more. 'Twill be sad news, to be sure, at Clod Hall, but I had done.
It won't do, David. I am determined to fight. So get along, you coward, while I'm in the mind.
Captain Absolute, sir.
Oh, show him up.
Well, heaven send we be all alive this time tomorrow.
What's that? Don't you provoke me, David.
Goodbye, master.
Get along, you cowardly, dastardly, talking raven.
What's the matter, Bob?
A vile, sheep-hearted blockhead. If I hadn't the valour of St. George and the dragon to boot, but...
What did you want with me, Bob?
Oh, there.
To Ensign Beverly. Well, what's this?
A challenge?
Indeed, why? You won't fight him, will you, Bob?
Begad, but I will, Jack. Sir Lucius has wrought me to it. He has left me full of rage, and I'll fight this evening that so much good passion mayn't be wasted.
But what have I got to do with this, Bob?
Oh, well, as I think you know something of this fellow, I want you to find him out for me and give him this mortal defiance.
Ah, well, give it to me and trust me, he gets it.
Thank you, my dear friend, my dear Jack, but it has given you a great deal of trouble.
Not in the least. I beg you won't mention it. No trouble in the world, I assure you.
You are very kind. What it is to have a friend. You couldn't be my second, could you, Jack?
Why, no, Bob, not in this affair. It would not be quite so proper.
Well, I must get my friend, Sir Lucius. But I shall have your good wishes, however, Jack.
Oh, whenever he meets you, believe me.
Sir Anthony Absolute is below.
I'll come instantly. Well, my little hero, success attend you.
But stay, Jack. If Beverly should ask you what kind of a man your friend Akers is, do tell him I am a devil of a fellow, will you, Jack?
Sure I will. I'll say you're a determined dog, eh, Bob?
I do. And if that frightened him, egad, perhaps he mayn't come. So tell him I generally kill a man a week, will you, Jack?
I will. I'll say you're known in the country as Fighting Bob.
Sir Anthony and Captain Absolute are below, ma'am.
No, Lydia, I insist on your behaving as becomes a young woman. Show your good breeding at least, though you have forgot your duty.
Madam, I have told you my best. I shall not only give him no encouragement, but I won't even speak to or look at him.
Here we are, madam. And now, Jack, speak. Jack. 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 Well, difficulty enough I had in bringing this fellow. I don't know what's the matter, but if I hadn't held him by force, he'd have given me the slip.
You have infinite trouble, Sir Anthony, and the affair I'm ashamed at the cause. Lydia, rise, I beseech you, pay your respects.
I hope Miss Languish has reflected upon the worth of this fellow and the regard due to her aunt's choice and my alliance. Now, Jack, speak to her.
She says she won't even look at me whilst you're here. I told you she wouldn't. Let me entreat you, sir, to leave us together.
Wonder I haven't heard my aunt exclaim yet. Sure, she can't have looked at him. Perhaps their regimentals are alike, and she is something blind.
I won't stir a foot yet.
I'm sorry to say, Sir Anthony, my affluence over my niece is very small. Lydia, turn round. I blush for you.
Perhaps Miss Languish will inform us what cause for dislike she can have to my son. Why don't you begin, Jack? Speak, you puppy, speak.
It's impossible, Sir Anthony, that she should have any. She will not say she has. Answer, hussy. Why don't you answer?
Then I hope that a hasty and childish predilection will be no bar to Jack's happiness. Speak to her.
Madam. I'm so confounded, so confused. The tremor of my passion entirely takes away my presence of mind.
Oh, don't take away your voice, does it? Go up, speak directly.
Shall we leave them together, Sir Anthony?
No, not yet, madam, not yet. No. Unlock your jaws, sir.
Will not Miss Languish lend an ear to the mild accents of true love?
What ails the fella? Why don't you speak out directly and not stand there croaking like a frog in a quinsy?
So the excess of my awe and my modesty quite choke me.
It is modesty. Now, look here, Jack. If you don't speak out directly, and glibly too, I shall be in such a rage. Mrs. Malaprop, why doesn't the lady favour us with something more than a side front?
Be not surprised, my Lydia. Suppress all surprise at present.
Is this possible? My Beverly! How can this be? My Beverly?
Beverly? Beverly? This is my son, Jack Absolute.
For shame, hussy, for shame. That fellow runs so in your head you have him always in your eyes. Beg Captain Absolute's pardon directly.
I can see no Captain Absolute, but my loved Beverly.
Oh, the girl's mad. Her brain's been turned by reading.
Oh, my conscience, I believe so. What do you mean, Beverly, hussy? You saw Captain Absolute before today. There he is. Your husband that shall be.
With all my soul, Ma'am. When I refuse my Beverly...
Oh, she's as mad as Bedlam. Oh, has this fella been playing us a rogue's trick? Come here, sir. Who the devil are you?
Faith, sir, I'm not quite clear myself, but I shall endeavour to recollect.
Are you my son or not? Speak for your mother if you would for me.
Yes, who are you?
Sir Anthony, most assuredly I am your wife's son, and that I sincerely believe myself to be yours also, I hope my duty has always shown. Mrs. Malaprop, I am your most respectful admirer, and shall be glad to add, affectionate nephew. I need not tell my Lydia that she sees her faithful Beverly, who, knowing the singular generosity of her temper, assumed that name and a station, which he now hopes to enjoy in a more elevated character.
So, there will be no elopement after all.
Jack, thou art the most impudent fellow. Upon my soul, I think I never saw a piece of more consummate assurance.
Oh, you flatter me, sir. You compliment is my modesty. You know that is still in my way.
I'm glad you're not the dull, insensible varlet I took you for. I'm glad you made a fool of your father. I am your dog. Well, this is your penitence, your duty, your obedience. I thought it was damn sudden. What, you never heard their names before? No, not you. No, the Languishes of Worcestershire. You dissembling villain. Yeah, she squints, don't she? Little red-haired girl. You hypocritical young rascal. I wonder you're not ashamed to hold up your head.
It is with difficulty, sir, much difficulty. I am confused, very much confused, as you must perceive.
Ooh. Lord Sir Anthony, a new light breaks in upon me. Hey, what? Captain, did you write the letters then? What? Am I to thank you for the elegant compilation of an old, weather-beaten she-dragon? Oh, mercy. Was it you that reflected upon my parts of speech?
Dear sir, my modesty will be overpowered at last. If you don't assist me, I shall certainly not be able to stand it.
Now, come, Mrs. Malaprop. We must forget and forgive. Upon my soul, things have taken so clever a turn. All of a sudden, I could find it in my heart to be so good-humoured and so gallant. Eh, Mrs. Malaprop? Huh?
Oh, very well, Sir Anthony, if you desire it. We will not anticipate the past. So, mind, young people, henceforth our retrospection shall be all to the future.
Come, Mrs. Malaprop, we must leave them together. They long to fly into each other's arms. Now, Jack, isn't the cheek, as I said, and the eye, and the lips, and the neck, Jack? Oh, the neck. Come, Mrs. Malaprop, we'll not disturb their tenderness. Theirs is the time of life for happiness.
Youth's a season made for joy.
Yes, well, I'm in such spirits I don't know what I couldn't do. I could do with a little fooling myself.
So grave, Lydia.
Sir.
Egad, I thought as much. That damned monosyllable has froze me. What, Lydia, now that we are as happy in our friends' consent as in our mutual vows...
Friends' consent, indeed.
Oh, come. We must lay aside some of our romance. A little wealth and comfort may be endured after all. And for your fortune, the lawyers shall make such settlements.
Lawyers. I hate lawyers.
Then we will not wait for their lingering forms, but instantly procure a license. And
license? I hate license.
Oh, come, my love. Be not so unkind. Thus let me entreat.
Sure. What signifies kneeling when you know I must have you?
Nay, madam, there shall be no constraint upon your inclinations, I promise you. If I have lost your heart, then I resign the rest.
Then, sir, let me tell you, the interest you had there was acquired by a mean, unmanly imposition and deserves the punishment of fraud. What? You have been treating me like a child, humouring my romance, and laughing, I suppose, at your success.
You wrong me, Lydia. You wrong me. Only here.
So, while I fondly imagined we were deceiving my relations, and flattered myself I should outwit and incense them all, behold, my hopes are to be crushed at once by my aunt's consent and approbation, and I am myself the only dupe at last. Here, sir, here is the picture. Beverly's picture, which I have worn night and day in spite of threats and entreaties. There, sir, and be assured I throw the original from my heart as easily.
Nay, madam, we will not differ as to that. Here is Miss Lydia Languish. What a difference. Aye, there is the heavenly assenting smile that first gave soul and spirit to my hopes. Those are the lips which sealed a vow as yet scarce dry in Cupid's calendar. There, madam, in beauty, that copy is not equal to you, but in my mind, its merit over the original in being still the same is such that I cannot find in my heart to part with it.
'Tis your own doing, sir. I suppose you are perfectly satisfied.
Oh, most certainly, to be sure. This is much better than being in love. There's some spirit in this. What signifies breaking some score of solemn promises? All that's of no consequence. You know, to be sure, some people will say that Miss didn't know her own mind, but never mind that. Or they may be ill-natured enough to hint that the gentleman grew tired of the lady and forsook her. But don't let that fret you.
There's no bearing his insolence.
Come, we must interrupt your billing and cooing a while.
This is worse than your treachery and deceit, you base ingrate.
Zounds, Mrs. Malaprop, this is the oddest billing and cooing I ever heard. What's the matter?
Ask the lady, sir.
Oh, mercy, for my part, I'm quite analysed. Lydia, what is the reason of this?
Ask the gentleman, ma'am.
Zounds, I shall be in such a fury. Jack, you're not come out to be anyone else, are you?
Oh, there's no more trick, is there? You aren't like Cerberus, 3 gentlemen at once.
I say the lady can account for this much better than I can.
Madam, you once commanded me never to see Beverly again. There is the man. I now obey you, for from this moment I renounce him forever.
The passion you pretended was only to obtain. But when the charm is ended, the charm you disdain. Your love by ours we measure, till we have lost our treasure. But dying is a pleasure, but
where this Captain Absolute hides himself. On my conscience, these officers are always in one's way in love affairs. Hello. I wonder, too, what it is the ladies could see in him to be so fond of him. Unless it be a touch of the old serpentine that makes the little creatures be caught like vipers with a bit of red cloth. Faith, is this the captain? Faith, it is.
To what fine purpose I have been plotting.
The devil is he talking?
Gypsy, I did not think her romance could have made her so damned absurd either. Instead, I never was in a worse humor in my life.
I'm in the luck of it. I never could have found him in a sweeter temper for my purposes.
I could cut my own throat or anybody else's with the greatest pleasure in the world.
To be sure, I'm just come in the nick. Now to enter into conversation with him and so quarrel. A genteel day. With regard to that matter, Captain, I must beg leave to differ in opinion with you.
Indeed, sir, you must be a very subtle disputant, because I happened just then to be giving no opinion at all.
That's no answer. For let me tell you, a man may think an untruth, as well as speak one.
Very true, but if the man never utters his thoughts, one would think they might stand a good chance of escaping controversy.
Then you differ in opinion with me, which amounts to the same thing.
Harkee, Sir Lucius. Had I not known you before to be a gentleman upon my soul, I should not have discovered it at this interview. For what you can drive at, unless you mean to quarrel with me, I cannot conceive.
I humbly thank you, sir, for the quickness of your apprehension. You've named the very thing I would be at.
Very well, sir, I shall certainly not balk your inclinations, but I should be glad if you were pleased to explain the motive.
Pray, be easy. The quarrel is a very pretty quarrel as it stands. We should only spoil it by trying to explain it. But your memory must be very short. You could not have forgotten a front passed you on me within this week. So, no more. Name your time and place.
Since you are so bent on it, the sooner the better. Let it be here this evening by the spring gardens. We shall scarcely be interrupted.
Faith, that same interruption in affairs of this nature shows very great ill-breeding. I don't know what's the reason, but in England, if affairs of this kind get wind, people make such a pother. A gentleman can never fight in peace and quietness. However, Captain, if it's the same to you, I should regard it as particular kindness if you let us meet in Kingsmead Fields, as I have a little business there at 6 o'clock, and I may dispatch both matters at once.
It is the same to me exactly. A little after 6, then, we will discuss this matter more seriously.
If it please you, sir, we shall have very pretty small sword light, though it won't do for a long shot. So, the matter's settled. My mind's at ease.
Well met, oh Faulkland.
All the demons of spite and disappointment have conspired against me. Had I not the prospect of being knocked on the head by and by, I should scarce have spirit to tell you the cause.
What can you mean? Has Lydia changed her mind? I should have thought her duty and inclination now pointed to the same object.
Aye, just as the eyes do of a person who squints.
What's the resource?
Oh, to wind up the whole, some good-natured Irishman here has just begged leave to have the pleasure of cutting my throat, and I mean to indulge him, that's all.
Prithee be serious.
This fact upon my soul. Sir Lucius O'Trigger, you know him by sight. For some affront which I'm sure I never intended, has obliged me to meet him this evening at 6 o'clock. You must go with me.
Nay, there must be some mistake. But I am myself a good deal ruffled by a difference I've had with Julia.
Oh.
It is my vile, tormenting temper has made me treat her so cruelly that I shall not be myself to well reconciled.
By heavens, Faulkland, you don't deserve her.
Letter for Mr. Faulkland.
Oh, Jack, this is from Julia. Here, boy. I dread to open it. I fear it may be to take a last leave, or bid me return her letters, or... Oh, how I suffer for my fault.
Here, let me see. Ah, what? It's a final sentence indeed.
Oh.
It is all over with you, Faith.
No, Jack, don't keep me in suspense.
Here, then. As I am convinced that my dear Faulkland's own reflections have already upbraided him for his last unkindness to me, I will not add a word on the subject. I wish to speak with you as soon as possible. Yours ever and truly, Julia. There's stubbornness and resentment for you. Why, man, you don't seem one whit the happier at this.
Oh, yes, I am.
Confound your buts! You never hear a thing that would make another man bless himself. You immediately damn it with a butt.
No, Jack, as you are my friend, own honestly. Don't you think there's something forward? Something indelicate in this haste to forgive? Women should never sue for reconciliation. That should always come from us.
I have no patience to listen to you. Thou art incorrigible. Let me see you before 6, remember, at my lodgings. A poor, industrious devil like me, who have drudged and toiled and plotted to gain my own ends, and am finally disappointed by other people's folly, may in pity be allowed to swear and grumble a little. But a captious skeptic in love, a slave to whim and fretfulness, who has no difficulties but of his own creating, is a subject more fit for ridicule than compassion.
I feel his reproaches, but I would not exchange this exquisite nicety for the gross contempt with which he tramples on the forms of love. His engaging me in this duel has fixed an idea in my head which I'll instantly pursue. I'll use it as the touchstone of Julia's sincerity.
What means this? Why this caution, Faulkland?
Alas, Julia, I am come to take a long farewell.
Heavens, what do you mean?
You see before you a wretch who has forfeited his life. Nay, start not. The infirmity of my temper has wrought this misery on me. I left you fretful and passionate. An untoward accident drew me into a quarrel. The event is I must fly this kingdom instantly.
We will fly together. When safe from pursuit, my father's will may be fulfilled, and I receive a legal claim to be the partner of your sorrows and tenderest comforter.
Would you not wish some hours to weigh the advantages you forego? Or what little compensation poor Faulkland can make you, beside his solitary love?
I ask not a moment. No, Faulkland, I have loved you for yourself. And I now more than ever prize the solemn engagement which puts the seal of duty to an act of love. Let us not linger. Perhaps this delay...
It will be better I should not venture out again till dark. Yet am I grieved to think what numberless distress will press heavy on your gentle disposition.
Perhaps your fortune may be forfeited by this unhappy act. I know not whether 'tis so, but... Sure, that alone can never make us unhappy. The little I have will be sufficient to support us.
Aye. But in such an abject state of life, my wounded pride perhaps may increase the natural fretfulness of my temper, till I become a rude, morose companion beyond your patience to endure. Perhaps the recollection of a deed my conscience cannot justify may haunt me in such gloomy and unsocial fits that I shall hate the tenderness that would relieve me, break from your arms and quarrel with your tenderness.
If your thoughts should assume so unhappy a bent, you will the more want a mild and affectionate spirit to watch over and console you.
Julia, I have proved you to the quick. And with this useless device, I throw away all my doubts. Ha! How shall I plead to be forgiven this last unworthy effect of my restless, unsatisfied disposition?
Has no such disaster happened as you related?
I'm ashamed to own it was all pretended. Yet in pity, Julia, do not kill me for resenting a fault which never can be repeated.
Hold, Faulkland. That you are free from a crime which I before feared to name, heaven knows how sincerely I rejoice, but that your cruel doubt should have urged you to an imposition that has wrung my heart gives me now a pang more keen than I can express.
By heavens,
Yet
Julia!
hear me. My father loved you, Faulkland. In his presence I pledged my hand, joyfully pledged it, way before I had given my heart. When soon after I lost that parent, it seemed to me that Providence had, in Faulkland, shown me whither to transfer my grateful duty as well as my affection. I will not upbraid you by repeating how you have trifled with my sincerity.
Well, I confess it
With
all.
this conviction, I never will be yours. While I had hopes that my persevering attention and unreproaching kindness might in time reform your temper, I should have been happy to have gained a dearer influence over you. But I will not furnish you with a licensed power to keep alive an incorrigible fault at the expense of one who never would contend with
Julia,
you.
by my
but
soul,
one word more! As my faith has once been given to you, I never will barter it with another. Dearest blessing I can ask of heaven to send you will be to charm you from this unhappy temper, which alone has prevented the performance of our solemn engagement. All I ask of you is that you will yourself reflect upon this infirmity. And when you number up the many true delights it has deprived you of, let it not be your least regret that it lost you the love of one who would have followed you in beggary through the world.
She's gone. Forever. There was an awful resolution in her voice that riveted me to my place.
Though he has used me so, this fellow runs strangely in my head. I believe one lecture from my grave cousin will make me recall him. Oh, Julia, I am come to you with such an appetite for consolation. Love child, what's the matter with you? You have been crying. I'll be hanged if that Faulkland has not been tormenting you.
You mistake the cause of my uneasiness. Something has flurried me a little, nothing you can guess at.
Oh, Julia, whatever vexations you may have, I can assure you mine surpass them. You know who Beverly proves to be.
I will now own to you, Lydia, that Mr. Faulkland had before informed me of the whole affair. Had young Absolute been the person you took him for, I should not have accepted your confidence without a serious endeavour to counteract your caprice.
So, I see I have been deceived by everyone. But I don't care, I'll never have him.
Lydia.
Why is it not provoking? I projected one of the most sentimental elopements. So becoming a disguise. So amiable a ladder of ropes. Conscious moon. 4 horses. Scotch parson. With such a surprise to Mrs. Malaprop. And such paragraph in the newspapers. I shall die with disappointment.
I don't wonder at it.
Oh, now, sad reverse. What am I to expect but to go simpering up to the altar, or perhaps be cried 3 times in a country church, and have some unmannerly fat clerk ask the consent of every butcher in the parish to join John Absolute and Lydia Languish, spinster? Oh, that I should live to hear myself called spinster.
Melancholy indeed.
How mortifying. To remember the dear, delicious shifts I used to be put to gain half a minute's conversation with this fellow. How often have I stole forth on the coldest night in January and found him in the garden, stuck like a dripping statue. There would he kneel to me in the snow and sneeze and cough so pathetically. He shivering with cold and I with apprehension. Oh, Julia, that was something like being in love.
So, here's fine work. Here's fine suicide, parricide, and simulation going on in the fields. And Sir Anthony not to be found to prevent the antistrophe.
For heaven's sake, madam, what's the meaning of this?
Why, murder's the matter. Killing's the matter. Slaughter's the matter. But he can tell you the perpendiculars.
Then pretty, sir, be brief.
Why then, ma'am? As to murder, I cannot take it upon me to say. And as to slaughter or manslaughter, well, that shall be as the jury finds.
But who, sir, who are engaged in this?
Faith, ma'am, one is a gentleman I shall be very sorry anything was to happen to. A very pretty behaved gentleman. We have lived much together and always on terms.
But who is this? Who?
My master.
Who?
Ma'am, I speak of my master.
Who?
My master.
Oh, heavens, Captain Absolute!
Ah, to be sure, you're frightened now.
But who is with him, sir?
Why, ma'am, as for the rest, this gentleman can inform you better than I.
Do speak, friend.
Looky, my lady. By the mass, there's mischief going on. Folks don't use to meet for amusement with firearms. Fire locks, fire engines, fire screens, fire office, and the devil knows what other crackers besides. This, my lady, I say, has an angry favour.
But who is there beside Captain Absolute, friend?
My poor master! And the favour for mentioning him first, my master, of course, is, or was, Squire Akers. Then comes Squire Faulkland.
Do, ma'am. Let us instantly endeavour to prevent mischief.
Oh, Faye, it would be very inelegant of us. We should only participate then.
Oh, do, Mrs. Ann. Save a few lives. They're desperately given, believe me. Above all is that bloodthirsty Philistine, Sir Lucius O'Trigger.
Sir Lucius O'Trigger!
Oh, mercy! Have they dragged poor little Sir Lucius into the scrape? Why, how you sit, girl!
What are we to do, madam?
Live!
With utmost felicity to be sure to prevent mischief. Friend, you can show us the place.
If you please, ma'am, I will escort you. David, do you look for Sir Anthony?
Come, girls!
A sword seen in the streets of Bath would raise as great an alarm as a mad dog. How provoking this is in Faulkland. Never punctual.
Hey, Jack! Jack Absolute! How one may be deceived at a little distance. Only that I see you don't know me. I could have sworn that was my son, Jack. Sworns it is. Hey, Jack, what are you afraid of? I'm sure I'm right. Jack! Jack Absolute!
Pardon me, sir. You have the advantage of me. My name is Saunderson, sir. Saunderson at your service.
Oh, I beg your pardon, Mr. Sanderson. I took you for my son, Jack. Zoons it is dead. Your humble servant, Mr. Sanderson. Now, Jack, what tricks are you after now?
Oh, a joke, sir, a joke.
A joke? Yes.
I came here on purpose to look for you, sir.
You did? Well, I'm glad you're so lucky. What are you muffled up so for?
It is cool somehow, isn't it? Rather chilly, sir, but I shall be late. I have a particular engagement.
Say, I thought you were looking for me. Where is you going?
Going, sir.
Aye, where are you going?
Where am I going?
Yeah, going.
Oh, I was going, sir, to Lydia, sir, to make up matters if I could, and I was looking for you, sir, to
go with you.
No, Zoons, no, sir, not for the world. Consider the cold air on your account.
Not at all, not at all. I mean, no hurry. Ah, Jack, you youngsters, when once you're wounded here. Yeah, what you got there?
Nothing, sir, nothing.
Or something damned hard.
Oh, trinkets, sir, trinkets, a bauble for Lydia.
Oh, let's see your taste. Oh, trinkets, a bauble for Lydia. Oh, yeah. Zoons, you're going to cut her throat, are you?
I thought it would divert you, sir. I didn't mean to tell you till afterwards.
You didn't? Yeah, what a truly diverting trinket, yes.
Sir, I'll explain to you. You know, Lydia is romantic, devilish romantic, and damned absurd, of course. Now, I intend
if she refuses to forgive me, to unsheath this sword and swear I'll fall upon its point and expire at her feet.
Fall upon a fiddlestick, Jesson. Yeah, I suppose this is the sort of thing that would please her. Get along.
You shall hear of my successor, you shall hear, "Oh, Lydia, forgive me all this pointed steel," says I.
"Oh, booby, stab away and be welcome," says she. Get along. Damn your trinkets.
Stop him! Stop him! Oh, Sir Anthony! Call, bid him stop! Murder! Fire!
Murder! Fire!
Where? Oh, she's out of sight and I'm out of breath for my part. Oh, Sir Anthony, why didn't you stop him? Why didn't you stop him?
The fella's mad. Stop who? Stop Jack?
Aye, the captain, sir. There's murder and slaughter going on, sir.
Murder?
Aye, please you, Sir Anthony. There's all kinds of murder to be seen in the fields, all sorts of slaughter. There's fighting going on, sir. Bloody sword and gun fighting.
Who are you going to fight, Dunce?
Everybody that I know of, Sir Anthony. Everybody's going to fight. My poor master, Sir Lucius O'Trigger. Your son, the captain.
Zoons! I see his tricks now. Do you know the place?
Kingsmead Fields.
Come along.
40 yards is a good distance. Odds, levels and aims, I say it is a good distance.
Is that for muskets or small field pieces? Upon my soul, Mr. Akers, you must leave these things to me. Stay now. I'll show you. 1, 2, 3, 4. There now. There is a very pretty distance. It's a pretty gentleman's distance.
Soon as we might as well fight in a sentry box. I tell you, Sir Lucius, the farther he is off, the cooler I shall take my aim.
I suppose you'd aim best of all if he was out of sight.
Oh, Sir Lucius, but I should think 40 or 8 and 30 yards.
Nonsense. 3 or 4 feet between the mouths of your pistols is as good as a mile.
Odds bullets, no, by my valour. There's no merit in killing him so near. No, my dear Sir Lucius, let me bring him down at a long shot. A long shot, Sir Lucius, if you love me.
The gentleman's friend and I must settle that. But tell me now, Mr. Akers, if there should be an accident, is there any little will or commission I could execute for you?
I'm much obliged to you, Sir Lucius, but I don't understand.
Well, now, you may think there is no being shot at without a little risk. And if an unlucky bullet should carry a quietus with it, I say it'll be no time then to be bothering you about family matters.
Quietus?
Well, if that should be the case, for instance, would you choose to be pickled and sent home? Or would it be the same to you to lie here in the Abbey? I'm told there's very snug lying in the Abbey.
Pickled? Snug lying in the Abbey? Odds, tremors, Sir Lucius, don't talk so.
I suppose, Mr. Akers, you were never engaged in an affair of this kind before?
No, Sir Lucius, never before.
That's a pity. There's nothing like being used to a thing. Well, pray now, how would you receive the gentleman's shot?
Odds files, Sir Lucius, I've practiced that. There. A side front, eh?
Now, you're quite out. For if you stand so when I aim at you...
So, Sir Lucius, you sure it's not cocked?
Oh, never fear.
Look, you don't know it may come off of its own head.
Oh, be easy. Now, if I hit you in the body, my bullet has a double chance. For if it misses a vital part on your right side, it'll be very hard if it don't succeed on the left.
A vital part?
But there, fix yourself so, yeah. Show him the broad sides of your full front. A ball or two may pass clean through your body and never do any harm at all.
Clean through me? A ball or two clean through me?
Aye, may they. And it's what's the genteelest attitude into the bargain.
Look, Sir Lucius, I'd just as lief be shot in an awkward posture as a genteel one, so by my valour I will stand edgeways.
I hope they don't mean to disappoint us. No. Faith, I think I see them coming.
Faith, what?
Coming? Well, who are those yonder getting over the stile?
Oh, there are 2 of them, indeed. Well, let them come, Sir Lucius. We won't run.
Run?
No, I say we won't run, by my valour.
What's the matter with you?
Nothing, my dear friend, my dear Sir Lucius. Only I don't feel quite so bold somehow as I did.
I consider your honour.
Aye, true, my honour. Do, Sir Lucius, edge in a word or two every now and then about my honour.
Well, here they're coming.
Sir Lucius, if I weren't with you, I should almost think I was afraid. If my valour should leave me, valour will come and go.
And pray keep it fast while you have it.
Sir Lucius, I doubt it is going. My valour is certainly going. It is sneaking off. I feel it oozing out, as it were, at the palms of my hands.
Your honour! Your honour! Here they are.
Oh, mercy. Now that I was safe at Clod Hall.
Gentlemen, your most obedient. What? Captain Absolute? Well, I suppose you are come here, just like myself, to do a kind office. First for your friend, and then to proceed to business on your own account.
What, Jack? My dear Jack, my dear friend.
Harkee, Bob. Beverly's at hand. Well, Mr. Akers, I don't blame you for saluting the gentleman civilly. So, Mr. Beverly, if you'll choose your weapons, Captain Absolute and I will measure the ground.
My weapons, sir?
Oh, it's like Sir Lucius. I'm not going to fight Mr. Faulkland. These are my particular friends.
What? Sir? Came you not here to fight Mr. Akers?
Not I, upon my word.
Well, now, that's mighty provoking. But I hope, Mr. Faulkland, that since the three of us have come here on purpose for the game, you won't be so cantankerous as to spoil the party by sitting out.
Pray, Faulkland, fight to oblige Sir Lucius.
No, Mr. Akers is so bent on the matter.
Oh, no. Mr. Faulkland, I'll bear my disappointment like a Christian. Look, Sir Lucius, there's no occasion at all for me to fight. And if it is the same to you, I'd as lief let it alone.
Observe me, Mr. Akers, I will not be trifled with. You have certainly challenged somebody. And you came here to fight him. Now, if that gentleman is willing to represent him, I can't see for my soul why it isn't just the same thing.
Why, no, Sir Lucius, I tell you, 'tis one Beverly I've challenged. A fellow, you see, that dare not show his face. And if he were here, I'd make him give up his pretensions directly.
There is no such person as Beverly in the case. The person who assumed that name is before you. And as his pretensions are the same in both characters, he is ready to support them in whatever way you may please.
This is lucky. Now you have an opportunity.
What? Quarrel with my dear friend Jack Absolute? Not if he were 50 Beveleys. Zounds, Sir Lucius, you would not have me be so unnatural.
Upon my conscience, Mr. Akers, your valour has oozed away with a vengeance.
Not in the least. Odds, backs, and the betters, I'll be your second with all my heart. And if you should get a quietus, you may command me entirely. I'll get you snug lying in the abbey here, or pickle you and send you over to Blunderbuss Hall, or anything of the kind with the greatest pleasure.
You're little better than a coward.
Mind, gentlemen! He calls me a coward. Coward was the word by my valour.
Well, sir?
Look, Sir Lucius, 'tis not I mind the word coward. Coward may be said in a joke. But if you had called me a poltroon, odds, bullets and blades...
Well, sir?
I should have thought you were a very ill-bred man.
You're beneath my notice.
Nay, Sir Lucius, you can't have a better second than my friend Akers. He is a most determined dog, known in the country as Fighting Bob. He generally kills a man a week, don't you, Bob?
Aye, at home.
Come, Captain. 'Tis you and I must begin. Come out, my little counsellor, and ask that gentleman whether he will resign the lady without forcing you to proceed against him.
Very well, sir. Since you won't let this be an amicable suit, here's my reply. Find his hands over to their good behavior!
Put up! Jack, put up! I should be in such a frenzy. How came you in a duel, sir?
Faith, sir, that gentleman can tell you better than I. 'Twas he that called me out, and you know, sir, I serve his majesty.
Then how durst you draw the king's sword against one of his subjects?
That gentleman, sir, called me out without explaining his reasons.
Gad! Sir, how came you to call my son out without explaining your reasons?
Your son, sir, insulted me in a manner which my honour could not brook.
Jack, how durst you insult this gentleman in a manner which his honour could not brook?
Come. Let's have no honour before ladies. Captain Absolute, come here. How could you intimidate us so? Here's Lydia being terrified to death for you.
What, for fear that I should be killed or escape, madam?
Oh, nay, no delusions to the past. Lydia is convinced. Speak, child.
With your leave, ma'am, I must put in a word here. I believe I can interpret the young lady's silence. Now, mark.
What is it you mean, sir?
Oh, come, Dahlia. We must be serious now. This is no time for trifling.
'Tis true, sir. And your reproof bids me offer this gentleman my hand and solicit the return of his affections.
Oh, my little angel, say you so? Sir Lucius, I perceive there must be some mistake with regard to the affront which you affirm I gave you. I can only say it could not have been intended, and I ask your pardon. But for this lady, while honored with her approbation, I will support my claim against any man whatever.
Well said, Jack, my boy, and I'll stand by you.
Mind? I give up all my claim. I make no pretensions to anything in the world. If I can't get a wife without fighting for it, by my valour, I'll live a bachelor.
Captain, give me your hand. An affront handsomely acknowledged becomes an obligation. And as for the lady, well, if she chooses to deny our handwriting here...
Oh, you dissolve my mystery. Sir Lucius, perhaps there is some mistake. Perhaps I can illuminate.
Pray, old gentlewoman, don't interfere where you have no business. Miss Languish, are you my dahlia or not?
Indeed, Sir Lucius, I am not.
Sir Lucius O'Trigger, ungrateful as you are, I own the soft impeachment. Pardon my blushes. I am Delia.
You? Delia? Be easy.
Why, thou barbarous Van Dyke, those letters are mine.
Mrs. Malaprop, I am extremely sensible of your condescension, and whether you or Lucy have put this trick upon me, I am equally beholden to you. And to show I am not ungrateful, Captain Absolute, since you have taken that lady from me, I give you my dahlia into the bargain.
I'm much obliged, Sir Lucius, but here's our friend Fighting Bob, unprovided for.
A little valour. Here will you make your fortune.
Odds wrinkles, no. But give me your hand, Sir Lucius. Forget and forgive.
Oh, Julia, how can I sue for what I so little deserve?
Oh, Faulkland, you're no more faulty in your unkind treatment of me than I am now in wanting inclination to resent it. As my heart honestly bids me place my weakness to the account of love, I should be ungenerous not to admit the same plea for yours.
Now I shall be blessed indeed.
Come, come, Mrs. Malaprop. Don't be cast down. You're in your bloom yet.
Oh, Sir Anthony, men are all barbarians.
I wish you joy. Mr. Faulkland, the same. Ladies, come now. To show you I'm neither vexed nor angry, tabers and pipes. I'll order the fiddles in half an hour to the new rooms, and I insist on your all meeting me there.
Yes, I like your spirit. And at night, we single lads will drink a health to the young couples. And a husband to Mrs. Malaprop.